students, in this lecture we'll start with module 2, which will be a revision for you. We are going to discuss about media access control MAC. When nodes or stations are connected and use a common link called a multi-point or broadcast link, we need a multiple access protocol to coordinate access to the link. So we are going to first see what is a multi-point or broadcast link. When nodes or stations are connected and they use a common link, then that is called a multi-point or broadcast link. Then there is a need of a multiple access protocol to coordinate access to the link. The problem of controlling the access to the medium is similar to the rules of speaking in an assembly. The procedure guarantees that the right to speak is upheld and ensure that two people do not speak at the same time, do not interrupt each other, do not monopolize the discussion, and so on. So, many protocols have been devised to handle access to a shared link. All of these protocols belong to a sublayer in the data link layer called Media Access Control MAC. So these protocols have been categorized into three groups. We'll see which are those three groups. So you can see multiple access protocol, that is media access protocol. Then you can see controlled access protocol, channelization protocol. These are the three. Under random access protocol, we have Aloha, CSMA, CSMA-CD and CSMA-CA. In controlled access protocol, we have reservation, polling, token passing. In channelization protocol, we have FDMA, TDMA, CDMA. Okay. Next, we'll discuss about random access. In random access or contention methods, it is that no station is superior to another station and none is assigned control over another. So, a station that has data to send uses a procedure defined by the protocol to make a decision on whether or not to send at each instant. Then, how many stations are there? Each station can transmit when it desires on the condition that it follows the predefined procedure, including testing the state of the media. So, state of the media, the decision depends on the state of the medium, whether it is idle or busy. Then why the name random access has come is, there are two features. Because of this, the name is random access. The first one is, there is no scheduled time for a station to transmit. Transmission is random among the stations. That is why these methods are called random access. Second, no rules specify which station should send next. Stations compete with one another to access the medium. That is why these methods are also called contention methods. Okay. Next, we'll discuss about random access method. Here, how many stations are there? In random access method, each station has a right to the medium without being controlled by any other station. Then, if more than one station tries to send, there is an access conflict called collision, and the frames will be either destroyed or modified. Then, in order to avoid access conflict or to resolve it, when it happens, each station follows a procedure that answers certain questions. What are the questions is, when can the station access the medium? What can the station do if the medium is busy? How can the station determine the success or failure of the transmission? What can the station do if there is an access conflict? So, whatever is a random access method have evolved from a very interesting protocol known as Aloha. This Aloha uses a very simple procedure called multiple access MA. Then this method was improved with the addition of a procedure that forces the station to sense the medium before transmitting. That is why this was called carrier sense multiple SS CSMA. Then this method later evolved into two parallel methods called carrier sense multiple SS with collision detection CSMA/CD. This CSMA/CD tells the station what to do when a collision is detected, and carrier sense multiple SS with collision avoidance is one more CSMA/A, which tries to avoid the collision. Next we'll discuss about Aloha protocol. The earliest random access method is Aloha. This was developed at the University of Hawaii in early 1970, and this protocol Aloha was designed for a radio wireless LAN, but it can be used on any shared medium. Then it is that there are potential collisions in this arrangement. Why? Because the medium is shared between the station. When a station sends data, another station may attempt to do so at the same time. The data from the two stations collide and become garbled. In this we are going to discuss about pure Aloha. The original Aloha protocol is pure Aloha, where this pure Aloha is simple and elegant protocol. What is the idea of this pure Aloha protocol is each station sends a frame whenever it has a frame to send multiple SS. However, since there is only one channel to share, there is a possibility of collision between frames from different stations. So the example of frame collisions in pure Aloha is shown in this diagram. So this figure illustrates the frame collisions in pure Aloha. You can see in this figure there are 4 stations labeled as station 1, station 2, station 3, station 4. Then all these 4 stations contend with one another for access to the shared channel. Then in the figure we can see each station sends 2 frames. So you can see in the figure there are a total of 8 frames on the shared medium. Some of these frames may collide because multiple frames are in contention for the shared channel. So you can see that only 2 frames will survive. That too, one from station 1 and one from station 3. This frame from station 1, this frame from station 3 will survive out of total 8 frames. Then even if one bit of a frame coexists on the channel with one bit from another, there is a collision and both will be destroyed. Then there is a need to resend the frames that have been destroyed during transmission. So here you can see this frame is getting collided with this one collided with this one collided. This collision with this collision. This pure Aloha protocol relies on acknowledgements from the receiver. When a station sends a frame, it expects the receiver to send an acknowledgement. If the acknowledgement does not arrive after a timeout period, the station assumes that the frame has been destroyed and resends the frame. A collision, when it occurs, it is going to involve 2 or more stations. Then, if all the stations try to resend the frames after timeout, the frames will collide again. So pure Aloha is making use of a mechanism so called that when timeout period passes, each station waits a random amount of time before resending its frame. The randomness will help avoid more collisions. This time is called back of time. So back of time TB, when the timeout period passes for a frame to send, each station waits a random amount of time before resending its frame. If collision occurs, the randomness will help avoid more collision. This time is called back of time, denoted by TB. In case of pure Aloha, there is one more second method to prevent congesting the channel with retransmitted frames. What it does is, after maximum number of retransmission attempts Kmax, a station must give up and try later. So this figure shows there is a procedure for pure Aloha procedure for pure along protocol. So you can see station has a frame to send, k equal to 0, send the frame, wait 2 into TP time, TP is propagation time, that is maximum. Yes, acknowledgement received, true, success. If acknowledgement is not received, then false, k gets incremented by 1, true, abort. If k is greater than k maximum, then stop. If k is less than k max, then choose R, wait TB, again send the frame. Okay, this procedure. So k stands for number of attempts, TP maximum propagation time, TFR average transmission time, TB back of time, which is R into TP or R into TFR, R random number 0 to 2 raised to k minus 1. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay. So the timeout period is equal to the maximum possible round trip propagation delay, which is twice the amount of time required to send a frame between the two most widely separated stations, 2 into TP, which is twice the amount of time. So the timeout period is equal to maximum possible round trip propagation delay, which is twice the amount of time required to send a frame between the two most widely separated stations, 2 into TP. The back of time TB is a random value that normally depends on k. Okay, k number of attempted unsuccessful transmission. The formula for TB depends on the implementation. One common formula is a binary exponential backoff. In this method, what is this binary exponential backoff is, for each retransmission, a multiplier r equal to 0 to 2 raised to k minus 1 is randomly chosen and multiplied by TP, maximum propagation time, or TFR, average time required to send out a frame, to find TB. One thing we have to note in this procedure, the range of random numbers increases after each collision. The value of k maximum is usually chosen as 15. Okay, chosen as 15. Then we'll take the example. The stations on a wireless Aloha network are a maximum of 600 km apart. If we assume that signals propagate at 3 into 10 raised to 8 meters per second, we find TP equal to, so how to find TP is 600 into 10 raised to 3 divided by 3 into 10 raised to 8, which is 2 milliseconds. For k equal to 2, the range of R is 2 raised to k minus 1. 2 raised to k minus 1, 2 raised to 2 minus 1, which is 4 minus 1, 3. 3 means 0, 1, 2, 3. The range of R, 0, 1, 2, 3. This means that TB can be 0 to 4 or 6 milliseconds. So you have to multiply this into 2 to get TB. So you have to multiply this 0, 1, 2, 3 into 2 to get TB. That is why it is 0 to 4 or 6 millisecond based on the outcome of random variable R. Okay, random variable R. Next we will discuss about vulnerable time. What is this vulnerable time is, it is the length of time in which there is possibility of collision. Assume that stations send fixed length frames with each frame taking TFR seconds to send. So this figure shows the vulnerable time for station B. Station B starts to send a frame at time T. So you can see this is T. Station B starts to send the frame at time T. Now imagine station has started to send its frame after T minus TFR. After this, T minus TFR. This leads to a collision between the frames from station B and station A. So there is a collision of frame between station A and station B. Then at the same time, we'll suppose that station C starts to send a frame at time T plus TFR. T plus TFR. Again there is a collision between frames of station B and station C. So we see that vulnerable time, the time during which a collision may occur in a pure Aloha, in this duration it is 2 times the frame transmission time. It is 2 times the frame transmission time. May occur in pure aloha is 2 times the frame transmission time. So pure aloha vulnerable time is 2 into TFR. Okay, we'll see example. A pure aloha network transmits 200 bit frames on a shared channel of 200 kbps. So what is the requirement to make this frame collision free? Solution: average frame transmission time TFR is 200 bits by 200 kbps or 1 millisecond. The vulnerable time is 2 into 1 millisecond, which is 2 millisecond. What does this mean is that no station should send later than 1 millisecond before the station starts transmission, and no station should start sending during the period 1 millisecond that this station is sending. Throughput. We'll consider here one term G, which is the average number of frames generated by the system during one frame transmission time. Then it can be shown that the average number of successfully transmitted frames for pure aloha is S equal to G into e raised to minus 2G. So the maximum throughput S max is 0.184 for G equal to 1 by 2. 1 by 2. Okay, we expect G equal to 1 by 2 to produce the maximum throughput because the vulnerable time is 2 times the frame transmission time. Now, if a station generates only one frame in this vulnerable time and no other stations will generate a frame at this time, the frame will reach its destination successfully. So the throughput for pure aloha is S equal to G into e raised to minus 2G. Maximum throughput is S max is 1 by 2E, which is 0.184 when G equal to 1 by 2. There is a problem, we'll solve that. A pure aloha network transmits 200 bit frames on a shared channel of 200 kbps. What is the throughput if the system, all stations together produces A, 1000 frames per second, B, 500 frames per second, C, 250 frames per second? Solution is the frame transmission time is 200 by 200 kbps or 1 millisecond. 1 millisecond. First part, if the system creates 1000 frames per second or 1 frame per millisecond, then G equal to 1. So in this case, S equal to G into e raised to minus 2G, which is 0.135, that is 13.5%. What does this mean is that throughput is 1000 into 0.135, which is 135 frames. So only 135 frames out of 1000 will probably survive. Second, if the system creates 500 frames per second or 1 by 2 frames per millisecond, then G equal to 1 by 2. So in this case, S equal to G into e raised to minus 2G, which is 0.184, 18.4%. What does this mean is that throughput is 500 into 0.184, which is 92. And that only 92 frames out of 500 will probably survive. The third is if the system creates 250 frames per second or 1 by 4 frames per millisecond, then G equal to 1 by 4. So in this case, S equal to G into e raised to minus 2G, which is 0.152, that is 15.2%. This means that the throughput is 215 to 0.152, which is 38. So only 38 frames out of 250 will probably survive. So I'll stop here. In the next lecture, I'll continue with slotted aloha.